Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Everyone, peace, God's mercy, and God's blessings on all of you. Ameen. So, I'm gonna try and do something a little different to what we normally do when it comes to the Strange Ink show, and I'm gonna do an Instagram live version of it. So, sometimes it'll be purely on the podcast or on YouTube, and sometimes it will be here as well. So, let's try it out. Bismillah. And I'll jump right in just talking about today's topic. Which is titled Our Art Heals. And someone actually made a comment a couple of days ago about something to do with when we are looking for peace, and when peace is something that should be our core focus. And just in general, that means there's this idea that to attain peace and to make a positive difference in the world, we have to be peaceful people. So one of our core values at Strange Ink is that our art heals. It is a form of healing in different ways. And when it comes to healing, and for those of you who are part of our communities, such as our woke writer group, who are part of the writer's block as well, where we use expressive writing to really push through emotional blocks. A big focus in the way that we do things is that we use our words and we express them. And sometimes those words that we need to say and the words that we need to write and the books that we need to create, they are not always going to be words that are peaceful, words that are calming. And the reason why is because healing in itself is a journey, and there are different ways of healing, and there are different types of healing as well, and there are different modes of healing. So there's a kind of healing which happens on an individual level, which is the most important kind of healing, right? And then there's a kind of healing which happens on a societal level, which needs to happen on a societal level, which is why we wrote our book Poetic Justice. And then with that kind of healing, because it is so vast and there is so many different things which come into that world of injustice, that world of oppression, that world of so many words that you can think of right now. Please type them if you can think of any. But there are so many things linked to us and linked to the world around us to do with healing, and there are so many things that need to happen in order to heal. So it isn't a kind of thing. So for example, if you have a wound, right, and it's a physical wound, the first thing that we do isn't bandage it, right? We need to make sure that it's clean. We need to make sure that it is taken care of, and that's painful. There might be a little bit of anger from you as you're frustrated, trying to just cover that wound up and trying to get better. And that is part of healing as well. There is pain that comes with healing, and most of the time, awareness is not enough, and what needs to happen is there is an anger within us which must be expressed. And the way we do that at Strange Ink is through our words, and it's a healthy kind of anger, because the healthy kind of anger is when we don't trample on someone else's boundaries, and we don't hurt ourselves either. And that anger is something that is physical. It is something within us that needs to come out, and it needs to be expressed. And the most powerful way to do that is through art, and we do it through writing. So I wrote actually a couple of notes on this, and I've just spoken about how healing, it can be for different things. It can be for society, it can be for the self, and then there are different things that need to happen in order to heal, right? Sometimes we need to be angry, and sometimes we just need to be really sad, and the two are not so different to each other, right? And then sometimes there's a time that we need to withdraw, move away from the situation or whatever it is that's making us feel so much pain. And what a blessing to be able to have the choice to do that, right? And then there's a time to stand, there's a time to speak, there's a time to be heard. And that is so important to know, that we do have a capacity and we have the power to share our words with the world, and it will make a difference, even if it is to one person, and even if that person is us. If our art is healing to us, painful, a process, but it is healing to us, then that is enough, right? And in Islam, there's this idea that in heaven, not an idea, a reality, a hadith, and verses in the Quran which talk about in heaven, the way it's described is that we will not feel grief and we will not feel difficult feelings. It's going to be a place of happiness, a place of peace, a place of pleasure, right? But in order to get there, it is a process. We have to go through things which are difficult in order for us to reach that level of true ultimate healing, right? Because in this life, if the one thing we believe is that healing is an end road that we're going to achieve in this life, then we will always be discontent, because healing is a process. And I'm talking about internally and I'm talking about externally as well, because healing comes in two modes, right? And you can't have healing in the world without healing in ourselves. So Islam believes ultimately that it is a religion of peace, right? But in order to attain peace and in order to attain the most peaceful we will ever be, is we have to go through justice. And remember when we did the whole Black Lives Matter movement and there was riots happening, the term that people were using when they were holding up the billboards was no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace, right? And subhanAllah, the two are not so different as well. So now I want to give a few examples of art which is healing and which has succeeded in spreading its message of calling to peace, calling to goodness, right? Which is ultimately what we hope our art can do. And one of these pieces of art is 1984 by George Orwell, and he wrote about a society which was being surveyed. There was a lot of issues happening. And the reason why that was an important piece of work is because today in China, the Uyghur Muslims in China are in concentration camps, and they are experiencing the very same thing that he wrote about all them years ago. And subhanAllah, when you read it, the comparison is eerie because it is so similar. The re-education camps, the sterilization, the ban of books, the ban of the Quran specifically, right? And then there's another piece of art that has been done as well, and this is Star Trek. I don't know if you watch Star Trek, but there is a show called Star Trek, and I'm sure you've heard of it. It's huge, but it was something even more big back in the day. I grew up with it. My dad used to have it on all the time in our home, and I remember so many episodes, and I rewatched the whole thing again. Anyway, too much information, but the point is that there is a species in there called the Vulcans, and then there is a species called the Romulans, and both of them are trying to find a home and they're trying to find peace, and the way they go about it is very different. So the Vulcans are very peaceful beings, and the Romulans, who are the cousins of the Vulcans, they fight, they oppress, they colonize, and that's what they're known for. They always want to have a war, right? And they always want to be the ones who are oppressing and taking over. And again, look at today, look at the issue of Palestine and look at the issue of Israel, and how they are so eerily similar to what has already been written and scripted, and this issue was going on way before Star Trek. But the point is that it brings it to light, and it brings up a new understanding of the situation of the world. In an old situation of the world is understood in a new way because of the way it's expressed through artists, through writers, through filmmakers. We do it through writing, we do it through books at Strange Ink. We did it with our book Poetic Justice, and we will keep doing it, inshallah, writing about important matters that have to do with healing, that have to do with justice, speaking the truth. And those are the two examples that I have. And the point of this episode is just to say that we do have the power to do something about what is happening today in Palestine. And what we can do in our capacity is speak. We can speak. And this is the world that we live in right now. It's not a world where we can hold weapons and fight or whatever it is. we fight with our words, and our words have power as women and as Muslims as well. So I invite you today, inshallah, to join us on November the 11th, which is Veterans Day, to share something that you have written on Palestine. And it can be a speech, it can be something that, as long as your voice is being spoken, then that is enough, inshallah. It could be a speech, it can be a children's book, it can be a poem, it can be a clip of fiction, as long as it is 3 minutes. And as long as you RSVP in the link in our bio, all the details will be under this video, inshallah. That will be perfect. And why are we doing this? We're doing this because we are raising funds for Palestine. And I did say when we posted the flyer a few days ago how we were going to announce who we are giving those funds to, and we are going to be giving it to an organization called The Servant's Promise. And it is an organization where 100% of the proceeds will go towards the people who they are serving, who are our brothers and our sisters in Gaza right now. And I will share a video, inshallah, in upcoming days of some of the amazing work that they have done. It is a trustworthy organization. It is a trustworthy brother. My husband is a part of it, and they are just doing amazing things. Allahumma barik, and you will see for yourself, inshallah. So anyway, if you have any questions, send us a DM, send us a comment on this video, wherever it is that you see this or hear this, inshallah. We will be streaming it on YouTube, we'll be streaming it on our podcast platform, and inshallah, bismillah, I really hope to hear from you. I really hope you can be a part of this, because your words are going to motivate people to want to help those who need it. So anyway, have a beautiful and blessed day, everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And as always, I will put my hand on my heart, and I hope that you can do so with me and say, my words have power. My voice has power, and my words have power. My voice has power. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Everyone, have a blessed day.